behind her smile. Part 1: The Perfect Beginning. Ryan Turner wasn't a man who believed in fairy tales, but if there was one chapter of his life that felt close, it was Emma. They met during their final year at college. She was studying marketing with dreams of breaking into the advertising world. He was a freelance web developer trying to pay off student loans while chasing startup ideas. Emma had ambition in her eyes and confidence in her step. Ryan loved that about her. She wasn't just pretty, she was magnetic. 3 years later, they shared a modest 2-bedroom apartment in Chicago's Logan Square. Life wasn't perfect, but it was real. They laughed over cheap takeout, binge-watched late-night shows, and shared long conversations about the future. She told him he was her forever. He believed her. When Emma got a job offer from JXC Group, a high-end marketing firm downtown, it felt like the breakthrough she deserved. Ryan celebrated like it was his own win. He bought her a bouquet of sunflowers, took her out for dinner, and even ironed her blouse for her first day. "You're going to kill it," he said, kissing her on the forehead that morning. She smiled. "You think so?" "I know so." Emma's new job was intense. She started coming home later, more tired, and often glued to her phone. Ryan didn't mind, at first. He chalked it up to adjustment, a demanding boss, maybe the pressure to prove herself. But then came the name. Julian Cross. At first, Julian was just my boss. Then, Julian said this. And Julian likes that. Ryan had never met him, but somehow the man was always present, in conversations, in late-night texts, in Emma's distracted thoughts. Julian Cross was 35, rich, sharp-jawed, and the kind of man who owned the room the moment he walked in. He was featured in Forbes' Top 40 Under 40, drove a Tesla, and spoke in TED Talks. Emma admired him, respected him, and slowly began to orbit around him. "Babe, are you sure everything's okay?" Ryan asked one night after she came home at 10 p.m., cheeks flushed and perfume fresh. She slipped off her heels. "Just a work dinner." "With Julian?" She hesitated. "Yeah, and the creative team." Ryan nodded. He didn't want to be that guy. The insecure boyfriend. He trusted Emma, or at least he used to. Part 2: Cracks in the Glass. Ryan lay awake in bed, staring at the ceiling fans slowly spinning above. Emma was beside him, her back turned, her breathing slow and even. But he could tell, she wasn't asleep. She hadn't touched him in weeks. Even their goodnight kisses had become routine, mechanical. "Are you happy?" he whispered into the dark. She didn't answer. The next morning, Emma left early, rushing out with her coffee in a stainless steel tumbler, her blazer sharp, her heels echoing down the hallway. She looked stunning and distant. Ryan sat alone at the kitchen table, staring at his cold eggs. At JXC Group, Emma was thriving. Her boss, Julian Cross, had taken a special interest in her ideas. He invited her to strategy meetings, trusted her with campaign leads, and praised her publicly in team huddles. "You're not like the others," Julian told her one evening as they stayed late working on a client pitch. "You think ahead. You don't just follow trends, you read them." Emma flushed. "Thank you. That means a lot coming from you." He smiled, leaning back in his chair. "You ever wonder why some people stay stuck in average lives, and others break out?" "All the time." "Then don't let average hold you back." He said it like he knew her. Like he saw through her. That night, Julian offered to drive her home. She hesitated at first but agreed. Inside the sleek, black Tesla, soft jazz hummed through the speakers. He didn't ask about Ryan. He didn't need to. "You have someone waiting for you?" he asked casually as they reached her block. Emma stared ahead. "Yeah. My boyfriend." Julian nodded. "Lucky guy." She smiled politely. "Good night." But as she closed the door and walked toward the apartment, her heart pounded harder than it should have. That line, "lucky guy," echoed in her head long after she climbed into bed. Over the next few weeks, Emma started working weekends. Sometimes she said she was at the office. Sometimes she claimed she was out with coworkers. Ryan offered to drop her off once, but she brushed him off. Don't worry about it. I'll Uber. On one rainy Sunday afternoon, Ryan found one of Emma's receipts in the trash. A bill from the Pavilion Hotel bar, dated the previous night. 2 glasses of wine. 1 steak. 1 halibut. He stared at the slip of paper in silence. She hadn't mentioned going out. That night, when Emma returned, her cheeks were flushed, her lipstick fresh. You smell like wine, he said quietly. She paused. I had a drink. With the team. Ryan didn't press. He just nodded. But something inside him cracked. Later that week, Emma got home past midnight. I'm tired, she said, sliding off her heels and heading for the shower. Ryan stood in the hallway. Emma, what are we doing? She turned. What do you mean? We barely talk. You come home late every night. You're always somewhere else. Are we okay? Emma hesitated. I'm just busy. This job, it's intense. He took a step closer. It's not just the job. It's Julian, isn't it? Her eyes widened. What? You talk about him all the time. You're with him all the time. Be honest with me, Emma. Her lips parted, but no words came. That silence was louder than any confession. Part 3. The line crossed. The next Friday was JXC Group's quarterly cocktail party, held in a rooftop lounge that overlooked the Chicago skyline. The dress code was formal, and the champagne would be flowing. Emma didn't invite Ryan. She told him it was just for internal networking, something she couldn't bring a guest to. He nodded like he believed her, but something in his chest twisted when she left wearing a red satin dress that clung to her in ways he hadn't seen in months. That night, Julian was waiting for her at the top of the elevator. You clean up well, he said, eyes grazing over her with no effort to hide it. Emma smiled, cheeks warm. You don't look too bad yourself, Mr. Cross. They mingled, they drank, they laughed. When the music got louder and the crowd thinned out, Julian leaned close and whispered, Come upstairs. I want to show you something. The private suite was minimalist and elegant, just like him. He poured them 2 more drinks. Emma stood near the window, looking out over the city. It's beautiful, she murmured. So are you. She turned, lips slightly parted. Julian. I know, he said quietly. I know you're with someone. But I also know you haven't stopped thinking about this. She didn't deny it. Her breath caught when he stepped closer. The air between them sizzled. I shouldn't, she whispered. But you will, he replied. And she did. The kiss was slow, deep, electric. She didn't stop him when he took her hand and led her to the velvet couch. That night, Emma crossed a line she could never uncross, and she didn't even try to stop herself. Part 4. Ghosts at Home. Ryan stayed up until 2 a.m. waiting for her. When Emma finally walked in, heels in hand, eyes glassy, she said nothing, just muttered, I'm exhausted, and headed straight to the shower. She didn't let him touch her. He stared at the bathroom door, fists clenched, heart hollow. The next day, Ryan opened her laptop while she was still asleep. He never did this before. But love, when bruised, starts to panic. Her inbox was clean. Too clean. But in her trash folder, there were messages she hadn't bothered to delete permanently. One from Julian. Last night, still thinking about you. Can't wait to feel you again. Another from Emma. It was wrong, but it didn't feel that way. I haven't felt that alive in months. Ryan's chest caved in. He didn't confront her that day. Or the day after. Instead, he watched. He watched her wake up early, smile at her phone, leave in the same rush she once had for him. He watched her return home late, detached, distant. She was slipping away, and the worst part was, she didn't seem to care. One night, he finally asked, Do you love him? Emma blinked. What? Julian. Do you love him? She looked down. then back up. I don't know. That was the end of something. Part 5 Shattered. Ryan moved out 3 days later. He packed his things in silence while Emma sat on the couch, knees drawn to her chest, mascara smudged but expression blank. You could have just told me, he said, loading his duffel bag. Instead of pretending like I didn't exist. I didn't mean for it to happen, she said softly. Yeah, Ryan said. But it did. He left without slamming the door. Emma stood alone in the quiet apartment, surrounded by the echo of her choices. Later that week, she received flowers at work from Julian. The card said, "No regrets. Only us." But when she looked at them, she didn't smile. Part 6 to 10 coming next, where Emma tries to navigate a real relationship with Julian. The consequences of her choices begin to weigh on her. Ryan rebuilds himself, but not without scars. A twist challenges everything Emma thought she wanted. Part 6 The Illusion of More. Emma thought things would get easier after Ryan left. That being with Julian would feel like freedom. It didn't. At first, it was intoxicating. Expensive dinners, weekend trips, compliments from her coworkers whispering how lucky she was. Julian gave her everything, except stability. He was passionate, charming, but also unpredictable. One moment he was obsessed with her, the next, cold and buried in meetings. He didn't want labels. "Let's not box this in," he'd say. "Let's enjoy what we have." Emma nodded like she understood. But in the pit of her stomach, she started to feel what Ryan must have felt, forgotten. Part 7 The Cost of Choices. Emma tried reaching out to Ryan weeks later. Just a simple message. "I hope you're okay." No reply. She saw glimpses of him online, new posts with mutual friends, a photo of him smiling with someone unfamiliar, a woman maybe. Her heart twisted. At work, Julian became more distant. The affair had fizzled into routine, and the spark she left everything for had turned into smoke. One evening she asked, "Are we still something?" Julian exhaled, pouring himself a drink. "Emma, you knew what this was." She blinked. "What do you mean?" "You're talented. Beautiful. But I can't give you more. I never promised that." "You didn't have to," she whispered. "I gave up everything for you." He didn't answer. And that silence hit even harder than Ryan's. Part 8 Echoes of Regret. Emma left JXC Group quietly, citing mental health reasons. The truth was simpler. She couldn't be in that office anymore. Not after becoming someone she didn't recognize. She started therapy. Began writing in a journal. Moved into a smaller apartment on the west side. Every time she walked past Logan Square, memories came rushing back. Laughter in the kitchen. Late-night ramen with Ryan. The way he used to kiss her forehead like she was home. She wanted to call him. She didn't. Part 9 Healing and Distance. Ryan did answer one day, months later. She sent, "I know I don't deserve it. But if you ever want to talk, I'm here." He replied, "I've made peace with it. I'm in a better place now. I hope you are too." That was all. Emma stared at the screen for a long time. Tears fell, but this time there was no guilt, just loss. Not of a man, but of a version of herself that had been worth loving. Part 10 Behind Her Smile. A year later, Emma sat in a small coffee shop reading a book. She wore no makeup, no high heels, no designer perfume. Just jeans, a flannel shirt, and earbuds playing soft music. She had learned to live slower. To find meaning in simple things. To stop chasing men who filled voids instead of healing them. Across the room, she saw Ryan. He looked different. Stronger. Happier. He was holding hands with a woman, smiling softly. Their eyes met, just briefly. He gave a nod. She nodded back. Behind her smile, there was no longing. No pain. Just a quiet sense of closure. And that, finally, was enough. The end.